It is 12:58. Good afternoon from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Tennessee Titans host the Houston Texans tomorrow at Nissan Stadium. Mike Vrabel ruled out Ryan Tannehill, Christian Fulton, Dylan Cole, Terrence Mitchell, Josh Thompson, Nate Davis, and Ben Jones for the matchup. Jones was also placed on injured reserve on Thursday, ending his season. The League Company countdown to kickoff starts at 9 a.m. Titans countdown at 11, and it's a noon kickoff on Christmas Eve with Mike Keith, Coach Mack, and the rest of the Titans radio crew. If the Titans beat the Texans and the Cowboys the next 2 weeks, and the Jaguars fall to Houston next week, the AFC South will be the Titans division before Week 18. If that does not happen, it will be an AFC South championship game in the regular season finale between Titans and Jags after Jacksonville's Thursday Night Football win over the Jets. Tonight, the Nashville Predators host the Colorado Avalanche. That is a 7 p.m. puck drop at Bridgestone Arena. Preds have won 2 in a row. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Woo, Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Happy Friday. Happy Christmas Eve to you. Blaine is out today on Friday, December 23rd. Keith Bulluck is in once again for Blaine. Man, you put in a long week here this week. The weather's been changing and everything. You just keep showing up.
Hey, that availability, getting these reps up. You know what I'm saying? Getting these reps. Hey, you know what? I was scheduled to fill in for Blaine all week starting on Tuesday. And, you know, when you're on the job, you're on that job. So although I'm although I'm an independent contractor, you know, when I'm scheduled, I'm here, baby.
Well, I appreciate it. Good to have you here. Lucas is here. Buck was here. He left. So we're going to be hanging out with you for the next couple of hours, and we are live in the studio. You got something you want to get off your chest or talk about, or you just want to tell Keith Bulluck Merry Christmas, you can call in 615-737-1045 on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. We will call our shot at the end of the show, as we do on each and every Friday. We will do that. One of Blaine's former Oiler teammates, Al Smith's going to check in at 1:45. With a message that the NFL is working on getting out to try to help some folks. And we'll let Al tell you all about that coming up. And I got a surprise guest coming in, one of your good friends coming in for the second segment of the first hour. Not this one, but the second segment.
Looking forward to it.
So your personal do you want a hint or no? You just want to be surprised? If I give you the hint, I was thinking you'll know exactly who it is. I mean, I didn't go and get like your linebackers coach from your rookie year.
Schwartz.
Yeah, I can't get Schwartzy in, anything like that. But somebody you like will come and join us in the second hour. So we'll talk Titans with a very well-known Titans person.
All right, we'll leave it at that. I'll take the surprise. It's Christmas time.
Oh, good surprise for Christmas.
No, I'll take the surprise. I won't. Normally, I was the kid that would definitely try and like unwrap presents and stuff, or if you put them jokers under the tree before Christmas, I'm definitely trying to figure out a way to peek. It don't even got to be my gift. I'm going to peek at somebody else's.
I don't care what anybody else got. Seriously, you were looking at other people's gifts?
I was that kid, man.
This is a commitment that I've unheard of, this commitment to see all gifts. So let me ask you, do you remember, like we all had the friend who felt like they had a system to open gifts and reseal them. Mm-hmm. I had a friend who would boil water when his parents were gone and hold the gifts over the steam. He said that would release the tape. He went to that much trouble.
Yeah, he's doing a lot. So I think he got to a point where I think my thing was, if I was looking, you know, you can lean gifts on certain gifts and the package might rip and then you can peek or something like that.
Accidental package ripping. Wow.
Yeah, or, you know, you can lift the tape up, or you could just unwrap it and then just wrap it again. You just want to know that bad.
I would just try to open. I just had one method. I would try to get the tape to come undone, and if the gift started to rip in any way, then I just gave up and shoved it back under the tree. Now, I would hold it up to the light.
Yeah.
I would, if there were any gaps, I would try to peek between the gaps just to see if I could see anything. Sometimes I would squeeze the box and think, okay, this feels like clothes. Oh no, there's some, this is not clothes. mean, I had full systems.
I mean, and I had a system too. And this is the last one, because these kids might be listening. It's Christmas break, like if you open one and it's the one that you kind of were looking for, put it in the back of the tree. And then that's the first one you open for Christmas. You're
if you damage a little bit,
yeah. It's like, yo, look what I got. You make sure you open those first, because then it's unsuspected.
Would your crew start to realize, though, like, why are all the gifts moving around the tree? Why did this go to the back?
So Miss Welch, that's my foster mom. She would put them out like tomorrow morning, like Christmas afternoon.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Or Christmas evening. She'd just be tired from rapping the last couple days. And then we'd be up to our thing, we used to stay up. We used to get stockings, and she used to put like all these gadgets and stuff in our stockings. So we'd be up messing with that. She'd always give us one video game we could play. And then, we'd be up all to like 4 a.m. Wake up at 9. Let's go. Where's the rest of the stuff? Give me.
Oh, man. Did you get – I'm asking this because I was never a great athlete, but I got sports stuff for every Christmas. I had 2 full football uniforms. I had home and away. I had everything you could get that was sports related. And a lot of people I talk to are great athletes. They're like, no, I never got anything like that. Did you ever get like sports equipment for Christmas? Did you want it?
Nah, I don't think so. I don't recall, because honestly, man, it wasn't like so. Like my Christmases went in phases. So like when I lived with my grandmother until I was about like 6, Christmas was great. Then like living with my mom until till 12, till I went to foster care. Christmas was you know what I mean? But then I went to foster care. It like really took off. Like
okay.
People, especially that first Christmas, I just fixed. I was on CYO basketball team, and like everybody was feeling bad for me for my situation. So like the whole team's parents got me gifts. I'm like, yo, this is what Christmas is like. That was the best Christmas ever. I swear. Like, I mean, I've been in foster care 2 months, and for however sad I was, man, that was pretty cool. I thought Christmas was like that forever, but then it kind of evened out the next, But I was very appreciative of that Christmas.
Well, see, I know it's the day before Christmas, and we got lots of Titans topics to get to, but I hope people are paying attention, because anytime they give money to a cause, or if a cause comes on and they go, gosh, we could use 100 more toys, or we do the toy field here, there's a kid on the other end of that. And I know people are like, oh, crap, well, I was already at Target today. But you know what? If you take the extra 20 minutes and do it, because here's a real person who benefited from this saying, my gosh, I was in a rough spot.
Yeah.
And then everybody bought me a Christmas gift, and it mattered.
Yeah, no, for sure. And even yesterday, I took about 15 families to the Walmart in Cool Springs. My Just Love is a philanthropic, so we give back. And like I was just telling the story about being in foster care. So that Christmas really stood out. Obviously, I just told this story. So even when I was playing, I had my Keith Bulluck Believe and Achieve Foundation.
I remember.
Where I do a bunch of different things, and Christmas was big. So Just Love because I have my store, allows me to get back in the community. So, we took about 15 families and their brothers and sisters to Walmart, gave them gift cards and let them go shopping for themselves, their families and stuff. So, that still is something for me. I don't need to publicize that stuff. Obviously, we're on the radio. We could speak about it. But, so to everything you spoke about, it's definitely Christmas is great, and it also helps those parents that might not have like that $50 to get their kid whatever they wanted. So it's a great time.
Is there a way people could help with that if they wanted to? Is it a foundation or something they can help, or is this mostly just love and they got something figured out?
Yeah, well, no. So each time, obviously, it goes by each individual store owner. Just Love as a whole does something. Their main thing is they provide. They provide money for families that want to adopt, because Just Love was started by Rob Webb, who's local here. He went to Lipscomb, and he just wanted to roast beans to help, families that wanted to adopt. He and his wife adopted two young ladies, 2 daughters, and he just wanted, and he realized the process was so expensive. So, it's turned into a franchise. So with that being said, with my individual store, I give back in the way that I know until, we have something across all franchises uniformly.
Well, man, that's fantastic stuff. And I remember your foundation, and as a dad, the thought about, because there are people, and I know we live in Middle Tennessee, and a lot of us don't think about people needing the bare necessities, but there are people who are choosing, like, okay, am I going to pay the power bill, or am I going to buy groceries, or am I going to buy medicine because I got this person in my family? And you're shaking your head like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, like just seeing some of the, because we were there from like 10 to 11:30, so I stay and I see most of the families check out, and it's cool to see what they get. Like, this one family got a deep fryer. I'm like, oh, they're gonna go down. They're gonna throw down on Christmas. You know what I'm saying? And then this one 15-year-old kid. They all come in, wearing whatever's going on, going on in their life on their face. You can read people's body language. I've been doing this long enough.
Yeah.
And this one kid, he came to the front to check out, and he went out of his way, and they all go out of their way because I tell them about myself, who I am, what I went through. I talked to him, and then his cart was filled with all clothes, sweatshirts and stuff. So like, I was like, you're gonna need that. It's about to get cold. He got a jacket, So a lot of the kids and those that come as families, it's great to see that they're taking care of their needs, and it allows them to possibly have more money than the parents expected to have over the holidays. So
yeah, well, that's good stuff, man. Again, as a parent and as a person, knowing that you do that, and there's a whole lot of people, Last Minute Toy Store and Salvation Army, and there's so many people that do great things around here. I kind of sometimes I get a little emotional just because I know how lucky I am, and I know how lucky so much of our people are, and that's very cool that you do that. So that wasn't planned, but a little Christmas talk there, Keith Bulluck. Do you think you could, Just Love could find some offensive linemen for Sunday and deliver those to Mike Vrabel, because he's absolutely going to need them, KB. This is yesterday got ruled out. Ryan Tannehill, Nate Davis, Ben Jones actually went on IR. Man, that guy's been he's been a heck of a guy for this franchise. Christian Fulton, Terrence Mitchell. Mitchell went on IR. He was ruled out. Josh Thompson, who's a backup DB, and Dylan Cole, who's kind of one of these guys who's been punching above his weight all year.
Yeah.
Playing a whole lot of snaps on D for this crew. Now, maybe they get Danico back, Zach Cunningham, Traylon Burks, Trey Avery. But just as a former NFL player, knowing they used 91 players last year, and I think they're at 80+ now, 2 years in a row, do you sometimes shake your head and think, how in the world is this happening? Because the rest of us do.
Yeah, I honestly do, especially it's 2 years in a row. And obviously it happens across the league, but I don't know, you may have to do a deeper dive this offseason into possibly nutrition, offseason workout program. They do that every year. Each organization, takes the time to obviously self-evaluate each department within their organization. But it's very baffling. It's very baffling. Last year, they were obviously able to play through it and get to, get through those rough patches and bring home the number 1 seed and get home field advantage. But this year, it just seems like at the time where they needed to be accelerating, they slipped on the banana peel, and it's just kind of going, still like, it's the cartoon, they're still slipping. It's not over yet, but it's still slipping.
Oh, no, it's like Wile E. Coyote in here, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then as a former player, it's not my situation. So, like, my opinion is just like everybody else's. It really doesn't matter, but it's baffling in the way that, dang, how do they have all these injuries? And then I know if I were on that team, not knowing anyone, if it were just take back to my situation, I would definitely be walking through the training room, looking at people with side eyes, wondering, asking like, what's up, man? Like, you know what I mean? And it's not a pressure thing or nothing like that. That's just, it's like, I know I need, what's up? We need to go. And,
right.
It's unfortunate that, they can't go. And I'm not going to say never. You definitely had some guys that, probably could have toughed it out or did whatever to get out there, but they weren't key guys anyway. But I've never really seen any key guys like, not go because they just don't want to.
I know Lucas is going to holler at me for this, but Matt is on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Let's squeeze in one quick phone call before we have our surprise guest next. Matt, thanks for calling in to Blaine and Mickey. How you doing?
Hey, guys, I'm doing great. I just wanted to touch real quick. I'm a former employee of a local restaurant in Murfreesboro where Rob and Jason and Keith himself, they have a lot of meetings there and stuff, to go over the numbers. And I just wanted to touch on how awesome those guys are. They're really doing great things in the community, and we just appreciate them a lot.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. I know the spot. Merry Christmas.
Thank you for the call, Matt. Absolutely. Merry Christmas to you. Talking about Keith and his Just Love Coffee family. They're all over Middle Tennessee. Yours is in Cool Springs.
Yeah.
They basically built a town in Cool Springs.
Yeah.
You can live there and eat there and do all kinds of stuff, and you're right in the middle of that. I love that spot.
Yeah, it's crazy, that McEwen Plaza. I mean, I remember, I picked my location and, decided to do actually standalone franchise. I'm also a owner within the franchise as well. But to do my own store, to really learn the in and outs of the business. And we're supposed to open in May, and March COVID hit.
Oh, gosh.
So it was crazy. But then I eventually was forced to kind of open in July, and it was a interesting experience. But yeah, to what you're speaking about, now they have all types of restaurants over there in the McEwen Plaza. Wine bar, North Italia's over there, Jenny's Ice Cream. Zach Pillar has his bar over there, Neighbors. It's he and his wife Victoria are very good entrepreneurs.
It is a good spot, and you may see Zach Pillar over there. You may see Keith Bulluck over there. You never know who you're going to see over there. You never know who you're going to see on Blaine and Mickey. Special guest coming up next to talk Titans. We will get all into it. Merry Christmas to all on this Christmas Eve. We keep it rolling next. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Well, the snow did fall all over the ground, and it brought some ice with it. So if you're going to be out and about, make sure that you got the mountain goat tires on the car. Those are the dulcet tones of Rhett Bryan, the executive producer of Titans Radio. Keith Bulluck is here too, sitting in for Blaine today. I was going to tell your personal producers coming in, but I knew you'd know exactly who that was.
My guy. Hey, you know what? Speaking of I feel like the coldest place I've been as a human, I feel it's like Vermont cold.
Yeah,
Vermont, and it's like we're in Nashville, and it's like some Arctic black. This is stupid.
It's a polar vortex.
Well said.
And listen, you're right, because maybe the coldest game you ever played in was the playoff game in New England in January of 04, where it was 4 degrees at kick and wind chill was negative 12, 14, somewhere in there, and then it was about 0 by the time you guys wrapped that thing up.
That was stupid.
But yeah, that has to be the coldest one, unless you had one year with the Giants.
That was it. This is a game I'm definitely not. I will go take a lap around the field and then that's it. Because it doesn't
it's not conducive to warming.
Let's just get out there and let's get it popping.
When it's not warm.
Right. We're just going to get it popping. When it's kickoff, I'll be ready.
Seriously, Blaine told me this once, so tell me what you did. I said, I just have to ask you this. For the rest of us normal humans, and we sit home and eat, bonbons and drink hot chocolate and watch you Warriors play when it's 5 degrees outside, and some people don't have anything on their arms, and you can tell, there's not, things sticking out. I would have everything on. He's like, Vaseline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then I asked Dyson, Vaseline. I heard one of the current Titans talking about it. Did you smear
Roger
Vaseline
McCreary
all over yourself?
They had this cold rub. It was like this cold cream. It's like this cream. It was really thick. So I didn't necessarily use Vaseline, but I used cold cream. And normally I'd wear a cutoff shirt, and then my sleeves would be cut. But then on cold games, I just wear a long one. Not like it really made a difference. And then I had my long sleeves anyway. And then, once you get out there, everybody's cold. Football is such a mental game. I'd rather let the elements affect my opponent. You know what I mean? Everybody's cold.
But petroleum jelly has long been a relief or a buffer for wind-burnt issues. It's a really good blocker with that. And, it was Roger McCreary was talking about that earlier this week.
It's great on the face. I know it's great on the face.
You
smear your face with that on a day like today or
tomorrow. If you don't and you go in, you're like, golly, what in the world happened?
There's a game called the Freezer Bowl. People remember the Frozen Tundra, the Packers and the Cowboys. They remember that game, the Ice Bowl. There's a game that you may or may not be old enough to remember. Rhett, do you remember the Chargers and the Bengals 1981? The Freezer Bowl.
Sure.
It was -9 air temperature. It was -27 wind chill at kickoff. It got as low as -59 wind chill in this game. And there's a great story from Hank Bauer. He was number 25 for the Chargers. He was one of these dudes, had a 6-year career, and he was mostly a special teamer, but kind of like a heart and soul of the team guy for as long. Little guy, just gave it everything he had, lasted a little while in the NFL. And there was a great story from Hank that I've actually heard him tell where he said, I went outside to warm up at my normal time, and I had all this stuff on. And he said, I came back in and I told everybody, you can take it all off. It doesn't even matter. It won't even help you. He said it was so cold, there was nothing you could do. You just went out there and bit your lip, and you played as long as you could. Then you ran to the heaters and tried to get feelings back in all your extremities.
Well, I definitely will tell you, there's not a lot of form tackling. You're trying, but there's not a lot of, like you say, extremities. I don't remember a lot of grabbing, being able to grab. It's it's a lot of, bumping with force and it's very interesting.
So, Keith, is that advantageous for Derrick Henry and what they want to do, regardless of what the line is going to look like, which I think it's going to look much different?
Yeah. It has to be, because I remember in New England, we played against Antoine Smith, and he wasn't small. In that negative 13-degree game, he definitely wasn't Derrick Henry. He ran differently, but he wasn't a small dude. And, Yeah, there wasn't much like wrapping up. It's just a bunch of.
I would imagine, though, just when it gets cold enough, just taking steps, jumping, landing on that hurts. Like everything hurts. I can't imagine. You would probably do your best to get warmed up. You go to the heaters or sit on the heated bench and put on your coat and do everything. Does it even help at that point?
Yeah, no. In that New England game, I definitely remember for sure the one that was -13. Those, you see the heat blowers out there, and they have the heated benches and all those didn't matter at all. Like in that New England game, it was like so cold that the Gatorade cups on the sidelines were frozen. They were like freezing. Like they weren't frozen, but if they stayed there for maybe another 20 minutes without someone, they probably would have froze. Like my dog's outside water bowl was froze today.
How long does it take you to warm up? Do you remember how long it took you to warm up from that once you got back inside, once it was done?
Man, you're so dejected.
Or you just, well, not only that, but
I would say even halftime, Rhett, because the NFL halftime is so short. Did you even have time to warm up?
That's
at
why I'm
halftime?
saying I think it would have been post-game that you.
You know what, though? The capes help a lot. Like, the capes really help a lot because, like, I definitely there was that Philly game in 2000. In 2000 was pretty cold
at
too,
the old
and I wasn't playing a lot at all. I was just special teams, and I had like 2 or 3 regular snaps. So, to just be on the side that was the
Del Greco 5 field goal game.
And then, like as a player, I remember just running off the field like Joey holding the cape, like I'm running into a cape, like like that TV timeout, I'm there. I'm not standing on the field. I'm going to get that. So like you notice it. But like during the play, it's so boom boom. But when you get in, it just you take your time.
I mean, it is what it is.
But it's like you're cold. You're definitely cold.
I can't imagine. Ryan Tannehill will not play in this game. He has been ruled out. Paul Kaharski reported not known if he will play again this season. Ben Jones, guys, went to injured reserve, and Ben came here in 2016 or 20. Yeah, it's 7 years for him. Mm-hmm. So an unbelievable run for Ben Jones in that amount of time. Ryan Tannehill has had a great run here and won a lot of games and won some playoff games and led this team to postseasons. But I'll ask both of you guys, it's very possible that we've seen the last of one or both of these guys in a Titans uniform. Wanted to play you this. Lucas, if you got the audio, this was David Beauclair. This was before any of this further injury was known about Ryan Tannehill. Blaine and I asked David Beauclair of Titans on Sports Illustrated, what would you do at the end of this year with some key Titans players? This is what he said about the Titans quarterback.
That's a really good question, Blaine, and I think I wouldn't go into a full-blown rebuild, but I would be going more in that direction, and largely because what I would do is I would say thank you, Ryan Tannehill. We appreciate it. It's time for you to move on and see what else is out there for you in this league. I think the best thing this team can do right now is go to a quarterback who's on a rookie contract and throw some money at other positions. And while you've got Derrick Henry in the latter part of his prime here, I think you need to take full advantage of that. I think you need to ride with the fact that your defense is good and you could probably make 1 or 2 changes there. You reinvest in the offensive line to protect your rookie quarterback, give Derrick Henry a better chance to run, all those sorts of things. I think that's how I do it. I think I would basically remake most of the offensive line, go with Malik Willis at quarterback and see what we can do from there with spending and free agency, with the free agency spending and how quickly that can sort of get this team back on track and playing the kind of football they want.
So that was David Beauclair, who was on with Blaine and me recently. Again, this is before we knew the extent of Ben Jones's injury. This is before we knew the extent of Ryan Tannehill's injury. Nate Davis has subsequently been dealing with some stuff as well and is banged up. This could very well be necessitated guys to look a whole lot different on the offensive line next year, and you're about to get a nice long look at Malik Willis. This prophecy by Beauclair, or David Beauclair, could be becoming true sooner than later.
Well, I'll go first if you don't mind, Keith. You at some point you're going to have to see what the young man has. Unfortunately, it's by choice in this. The injuries have dealt this. I'm very interested to see how Malik takes to the field and does this tomorrow, knowing that he's had a week to prepare to be the guy. And I know that they've been doing a lot of walkthroughs and things because they're so banged up. But knowing that he's faced this team once before already, and so how he applies that. In speaking with Mike Vrabel earlier today, he seemed positive that he has taken a stride forward in terms of kind of the game starting to slow down for him. And so we'll see how that works. But in terms of which is gone or both is gone, listen, I think there's roster turnover and change every season, 30% or so. But I think what you're describing, Mickey, and what David Beauclair is saying, it's going to be quite a bit more than that. And I wouldn't be surprised if Ben Jones either retires or they have to move on from that. Because, I mean, look, the big thing is salary cap troubles that they're up against, and you're going to have to make some moves. But, yeah, I can see a scenario where 4/5 of the offensive line are different guys next year.
Yeah. I think with the Malik part, I said it yesterday, and I'll say it again. I believe this is, a part of his spring ball, a part of his audition, because I think it's advantageous to him that he is facing the same team, gets to show the learning curve against something that a team that he's familiar with. But at the same time, I think that Titans, front office, more importantly, Titans head coach and coaching staff gets to see how Malik gets to control the team without Ryan right there behind him every day in the locker room, every day. And, I'm not saying that doesn't help, but that's part of the maturation process, and that will help, Mike Vrabel and front office, whoever has to make that decision about, okay, are we going to bring Ryan back? Are we going to find, a quarterback in free agency? And even either way that happens, if they do move on from Ryan and bring someone else in, I don't think it should be in a situation where, okay, Malik is our starter. They should bring someone in of caliber to come in and compete. At that situation, that's what you want.
I think they would be doing a disservice to Malik if they didn't do that. I agree with that, because you want to see what you're describing is what they always talk about, command of the huddle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Command of the huddle, command of the team. You want to see, okay, Ryan Tannehill, if Ryan's gone, and you still have, your Kevin Byard's here and your Derrick Henry's here. And even if Taylor Lewan's not here and Ben Jones aren't here, you still have, a core presence, a core veteran presence that he's going to have to prove himself to. They're just not going to be like, oh, come on, Malik, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? So, to all of those things, I think during this span, Malik gets to show what type of player the Titans could possibly expect to see him be in the future.
Obviously, the Titans want to run the ball tomorrow, but we know how beat up the offensive line is. This is a real thing that happened on Earth by one human against other humans. I wrote this down, and I wrote it down, and then I looked at it 6 times to make sure it was right. In his last 4 games against the Texans, do you know these stats, Bully?
I heard him yesterday.
Derrick Henry has run for 892 yards and 9 touchdowns in 4 games. Like that's a good season for some people. He's done it in 4 games against the Texans. How do they do that tomorrow, knowing, and the Texans aren't particularly good, well, at anything. They're not particularly good at rush defense, among the worst in the league. But the Titans are going to have the 3 of us out there playing on the offensive line tomorrow. How do you recreate what you've been doing or come close with a patchwork offensive line?
Well, and Mickey, you ask any offensive line coach or anybody on the close to the offensive game plan, it's running the ball is an attitude.
Yeah.
So that's first and foremost. Whoever starts tomorrow on the offensive line has been in a situation where they had to move the guy in front of them in order for, their running back to get yardage, meaning they wouldn't be on this roster if they weren't the type of offensive linemen that were run type offensive linemen, because that's what the Titans do best. They run. So I think it kind of goes, you kind of keep that same formula, and you set the tone, obviously, earlier this week. It's going to be a cold game, and you just stay with that mentality. And like we said, I said this earlier, Derrick Henry needs to hit closer to 30 carries than 21. He has to hit closer to that 30. Mickey, do you have the amount of carries that he's had in those games by chance?
I know this. There was a stat going into the Chargers game where in his last 9 games against bottom 5 run defenses, which they're the last, they're 167 a game they're allowing. Coming into that game, the Titans were 8-1. He had an average of 25 carries, an average of 180 yards. And I forget how many touchdowns, but they were 8-1 in that stretch. So they're 8-2 in the last 10 games against bottom 5 because things went differently and didn't end the way they wanted to against the Chargers. But he's had success, no question.
Okay, you ready? 32-22. He still went for 212 in that one. 34 and 32.
There it is.
There it is.
So you're totally right, Keith. Is that first of all, I look at the personnel, and yes, it's not your starting ideal personnel. I get that. But you bring back Daniel Munyer, who I think will probably be elevated. He's been in this system before. He's played some games for the Titans before. Same thing with Corey Levin. And you still have Nicholas Petit-Frere, who's been in it all year, Aaron Brewer, who's been in it all year. So you have guys there that know what to do. They just have to execute and win. That's it. They have to win their blocks.
Absolutely. And to what you're saying, to add on to what you're saying, Rhett, like to put my mind back in that locker room, those guys that are getting these opportunities or just in these classrooms, because I've been in the classrooms where, a linebacker or someone on the defense or even, in a team meeting, and Jeff Fisher's like, all right, such and such, you want your shot, you're getting your shot, and they'll call you out, not necessarily call you out, but put you on notice in front of your peers. And that starts in the beginning of the week, not in a sense like, what are you going to do? But in the sense like, we got your back. This is the guy that's going out there for us. Like how we're speaking, they don't have this. So coach is going to be like, guys, we don't got Ben. We don't got Taylor. We don't have. He's going to tell you everybody we don't have. This week we have this person, this person, this person. We got Malik starting, but we do have, and however Vrabel or a coach's team meeting goes, but they're definitely making you aware of your situation going in to that week of work. For us, obviously, we sit back and we tell what we think, but what I do know is that everyone in that locker room is aware of the game plan, what they have to do. But to what Rhett says, they just got to make their blocks. They just got to make their plays.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the other thing for the long part of it is for a guy like Corey Levin or Daniel Munyer or whoever, knowing that there's going to be probably some wholesale changes on this offensive line in 23, you get a chance to audition, put some stuff on film.
And I want a spot. And that's how their mentality needs to be. Like, look, man, I need a place at the table. Starting offense or starting defense, whatever it is, place at the table. This is your opportunity. And look, it might not be here with the Tennessee Titans, but you're putting some film out there. You're getting the block for one of the best backs in Titans history. And look.
And in the league, for that matter.
Yeah, for sure. And no one's really expecting y'all that people are counting. Everyone's counting the Titans out, but they're still on top of the AFC South.
Yep.
I mean, go out there and make some noise. Have fun. That's what you play for.
Wear your long underwear.
Oh, yeah. Double up.
I
Today.
will be ready tomorrow. I promise you.
So tomorrow, got you covered all day.
Yep.
Buck and Blaine and me will be on at 9. And then
Titans countdown at 11. And then Mike and Mac take off at 12:02 officially. But, yeah, we'll have you ready to go all through the day. And you can stay where you are and warm and turn us on, and we'll take care of the rest.
Well, I can't wait to hear, and I always love to hear what you got planned in the pregame show.
Go talk to Jeffrey Simmons. I had a nice conversation with him about him starting his foundation. Cool. Give him a reason. And he had a great start to that the other night, taking some youngsters out for a shopping spree and for dinner. And And he really wants to give back both in his community in Mississippi and in Nashville, his Titans home. And it's a great chat with him, and we'll have that and so much more. And Merry Christmas to the both of y'all and everybody out there listening. Thank you for listening to Titans Radio, to 104.5 The Zone. Hope everyone has a great holiday season. We appreciate you so much.
Yes, sir. Rhett Bryan, the one and only special guest on today's show. All right, when we come back, we got another special guest, former Oilers All-Pro Al Smith will join us. That's next on Blaine and Mickey. And Mickey 104.5 The Zone. Keith Bulluck hanging out today for the Hitman, Blaine Bishop. Want to wish you all a very happy Christmas. Be safe and happy holidays. If you don't have to get out, don't get out. Some of the roads are still a mess. Not all of them, but it's also really, really cold. So just be safe, be smart out there, and have a great holiday season. We got a new guest on the phone, though, is going to join the show for this segment. Former Houston Oilers All-Pro linebacker and the president of the NFL Alumni Association's Tennessee chapter, Al Smith, joins us now. Al, Merry Christmas to you. How you doing today?
Doing good. How you guys doing?
Man, doing fantastic. I got Keith Bulluck hanging out for the Hitman today. I know that you were part of a group of several NFL alumni. There was a big announcement. I know Blaine was part of it in the State Health Department of Tennessee. It's Gear Up Tennessee, a new campaign, man. Tell us all about this.
Yes, basically a statewide effort to raise awareness and educate Tennesseans about COVID-19. Just basically getting the message out, getting protected, talk to your healthcare providers, your doctors for more information if you need more information, but really trying to focus on underserved communities. That numbers are lagging, to try to help the State Department, the Health Department of the state, to get the word out and be able to help all our Tennesseans out to the best we can.
Al, how did you get involved with this as a former alum myself? How did you go about becoming the spokesman for this in our area?
Well, one of the things, being the president of the chapter, that kind of reached out to me as far as having this partnership with the NFL Alumni Association nationally. And obviously, with Tennessee, we're able to get a grant through the state to help our Tennesseans out. And with that, being able to kind of reach out to different individuals for different things. The kickoff campaign was basically with the press conference that we had last week was just more of a kickoff. But we have events, we have town halls, we have vaccination events across the state, different times. Going forward. So there's things that's going to be continue to go forward, but at the same time, just trying to get the message out to everyone else. But that's how it basically started.
Was there a reason to kind of push this thing into overdrive for the holidays?
Well, one of the things about obviously going into the colder months, because of the fact, Mickey, the numbers are still rising. It's not talked about as much, but at the same time, the numbers with the health department is still going up. We want to be able to protect Tennesseans, protect the people, basically the community that has served us. The community being back out, whether it be Keith or myself, the community has cheered us, has been there for us for many years or what have you. This is a way to kind of give back and be able to tap back in to the community that has served us so well and give them the opportunity to help them and give them a resource, an opportunity if they choose so to have that protection going into these winter months to protect not only themselves, their families, and others, because a lot of times the others are the ones that get infected in this. It's not necessarily getting it at home at your family. It could be out and about. We have individuals getting them all kind of different ways, so we just want everyone to be protected.
So if people want more information, where can they go to get more info on Gear Up Tennessee, this campaign?
Yeah, NFLA GearUp.org.
All right, before you go, I have to ask you this. This is unrelated to the campaign, and I appreciate your time jumping on with us, but you and Blaine are the guys who go down on the field before the game. If people don't know this, Blaine is back in the NFL business along with yourself, and you try to make sure everybody's compliant in their uniform and how they're wearing it. That's a real thing with the NFL. Bulluck is sighing over here, Al.
That's what you do, Al.
When I asked the question. But what in the world are y'all going to do tomorrow if, like, somebody comes out there with a sweatshirt on under his jersey? Al, it's going to be like 8 degrees.
Well, one thing about the NFL, they're real stringent about obviously the rules and what they wear. Keith can attest to that. I've been through it even before Keith.
I got a question after you answer this question. I got a question for you.
Okay. Well, no problem, Keith. But basically, when it's cold like that, you never know what you might get. But it's going to be interesting to see tomorrow, obviously, with the cold weather, what have you. A lot of guys at least with the Titans, I think the Texans might be a little different as far as what they wear. But the main thing is staying warm, but staying within the confines of the rule book, so to speak.
So I side because I'm aware of that the equipment checker guy I used to call him just because I used to get, and then the person that was the guy for when I was playing was Merton Hanks, another former player, 49er corner, 49er legend. And he used to always come up to me, like when I had my headphones on, I'm getting in my zone, talking to me about my socks or something. Like I'm not even dressed for the game. So that's what my side was. So my question to you is, do you go directly to the player or do you let their equipment manager know?
Well, no. Well, my process is basically, if you had your headphones on before the game or whatever and pre-game warm-up
right.
before you even put your pads on.
Pre-game.
Yeah, the pre-game, you can do what you want to do.
Okay.
It's basically when you come out with the pads on.
Okay.
When you come out with your pads on in the pre-game leading up to the game, then, that's when the clock starts, so to speak, and then you have the opportunity to change by the time you go in the locker room. But so when you come out for the game, that's actually when you would get fined if you're doing it once the kickoff. But anything up until that, you have a chance to change it. But some guys don't want to change. Some guys push the envelope, obviously, and like giving their money away to charity for whatever reason. But charity is good, but they're like giving their money away. So after that, then it becomes a league thing. And I just do the documentation. And once you do the documentation, you send it to New York, and then New York sends the infraction to the individual players. So to answer your question, Keith, I do not interact with the players. The players over the years have gotten to know me, so they just ask me, am I good or am I not good? And, once they get a good feel for you and know who you are, I'll tell them, pull this up a little bit or do this a little bit, and they'll adjust, and then all's good.
Hey, Al, man, what are those fines hitting for these days?
Well, if you read people,
like socks or something like that. Like how much? Let the people know how much the NFL are fining people for how they wear their socks, not showing enough white or enough color in their socks.
Man, it could be a couple grand, man.
For socks.
So. And it goes up. And if you're a repeat offender, it kind of gets crazy. But you keep doing the same thing over and over.
Right, but usually the repeat offenders are the really good players who are just like, whatever, it's part of their swag. They're going to eat that check anyway. Good talking to you.
But keep on knowing the repeat guys are the guys that make all the money. The guys that on the
And that's what I'm saying. It's part of their swag now. They ain't worried about that little $2,500.
All right.
Yeah, but it adds up. It adds up over the course of the year. But they want to give it away. They can give it away to us.
No, it's supposed to be going to charity. Is it us or is it charity? Whoa. Is it us or is it charity? What's going on now?
Well, you know what he means. All right, one more, Al, and Lucas is going to get on us because we're going over here. But next year, Miss Amy has said the Titans will wear throwbacks. What is it going to be like for you to walk out and see them in a uniform that you wore? Because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to flip out when I see it.
Well, me personally, it'd be nice to see it. I mean, it was nothing like that pot of blue. It was it was nice, and a lot of times when we played in the dome, obviously you didn't get to see all the all the dirt and mud marks and all that stuff like that. So it always stayed pretty fresh. So when you're indoors, but at the same time, it'd be nice to see it. I mean that's what it's all about, being able to connect. Players are able to connect with the teams that they play with. Whether it be the Browns and the Ravens or the Ravens. But some of those guys have played on both teams, but at the same time they have a team to identify with or have a uniform to identify with, which is great.
Well, Al, thanks for the time today, and thanks for telling us about Gear Up Tennessee. And look, we just need to get you on, have you chop it up with Blaine and me sometime and just talk about the good old days.
Oh, no problem. Anytime. I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys having me on, Keith. Obviously we'll be talking and
no doubt,
hopefully get you involved with the program a little bit as well.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Al. Thank you, sir.
You guys too. You guys take care.
Former Titans All-Pro Al Smith, president of the NFL Alumni Association's Tennessee chapter. When we come back, former Titans All-Pro linebacker Keith Bulluck and me for one more hour hanging out here on Blaine and Mickey. Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone, hanging out with Keith Bulluck, the hitman, off today on the 23rd of December. It's, I don't know, is it 8 degrees outside right now? It's 8. It's 8 degrees. Keith Bulluck is sitting in for Blaine again. You're from up north. Did you ever miss this when you were down here?
What?
It came to you.
The hawk is out. That's what we say.
What?
The hawk is out right now.
I don't even know what that means.
Yo,
The hawk.
Yeah.
Is this bird related, or is that like a euphemism for something?
It's like a euphemism for something.
Okay.
Like it's when it's super cold. First of all, it's brick. Like it's brick. Like it's cold. Like that's a northern slang for cold. It's brick.
Yeah.
It's brick out. And then when you say the hawk is out, that just means when you're outside, it's cold. But then when that wind comes, it swoops in. Whoo, the hawk, boy. Woo! Hey, you better have that scarf. In New York, up north, in Chicago too, I'm sure everywhere is cold. You gotta have a scarf. Your scarf game has to be tight. That keeps that cold up off your chest. You know what I mean? The hawk is outside, and
you don't get to use this very often. No. I feel like I'm unleashing the hawk in you. To let you say this.
When I speak to my friends back home, I talk to my brother or somebody. I'm like, yo, the hawk's outside today, boy. I know what they're talking about. You know? It's funny.
It is brick, and the hawk is here.
Yeah, it is.
Sound the same when I say it.
Yeah, it's brick. Hey, but you're getting your up north weather slang report up.
Oh man, I feel like
sure.
oh my gosh, I could just walk the streets of New York right now. The Big Apple right here on before Christmas.
1,000%.
Oh my gosh, people would be like, "That guy's local." I can tell. They would know that was local. This accent wouldn't give me away at all. Mike Vrabel, he is from up north. He's from Ohio. He ruled out a bunch of players yesterday, and I know you and Lucas Panzica did a fantastic job on the show, and you were talking about this. So Ryan Tannehill, Nate Davis, Ben Jones, who then went to injured reserve, and they ruled out Christian Fulton and Terrence Mitchell and Josh Thompson, who some of you are like, huh? But he's a DB who's like a depth piece and plays special teams. And Dylan Cole, a linebacker who maybe some of you didn't know very well before this year, but he's been pressed into duty and is a guy who's just one of those guys who's his best ability so far this year has been his availability. He's been available and played in games, and at times has made some big plays.
Did he make did I hear it right? He made special teams, not special teams, all pro special teams alternate or something like that? Might have to do some. I thought I heard that.
That may be our crack research team may have to look into this for Dylan Cole to see if that's the case. And the one thing about any type of business announcement by the Titans, I think you'll learn this when you sit in with this time slot. They make everything official at 3 o'clock our time.
Word. All right.
So, like,
maybe
when you get in the car, if you wonder, like, I wonder if Cunningham's going to be activated off IR. When you sit in your car, crack open your phone, and you can find out immediately. It happens every time when we leave. They make all these announcements.
I've heard you and Blaine speak about that often. How, man, I know they're going to make the announcement as soon as we get off.
Oh, it's all for Ron Slay.
Yeah, and then here comes Slay. Hey,
this guy's out. This guy's going to play.
Lay it up off the backboard for Slay. He comes through the lane. He reverse slams that thing. Boom. Because, you know, he's bringing all the energy with the new announcement. He even got his own music. Where'd it go? Din, 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 din. Yo. He steals your thunder.
Look at Lucas in there laughing.
So Cole is a Pro Bowl alternate.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Look at Keith Bulluck just calling this news out.
I've been here all week, Mickey. What'd you say, Lucas?
Special teams alternate, yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I've been here all week, so I got to stay on top of my game. With that being said, for as hard as Dylan Cole is, like you said, his availability has been his best thing for – the defense, for when David Long Jr. has been out, when Zach Cunningham's been out. But he's a special teams alternate. So that's what he's really known for.
Yep.
So obviously you see like where his value is, that he could be available to do all those things. And he's been in the league for 5-6 years, and I don't know if he's ever been an alternate or been to the Pro Bowl before, but obviously he's putting together a great season overall. But if you look at some of the positions that he's been put in, some people might be like, oh, why do you got him out there? You know why? Because that guy's available.
Right.
So, he's on IR now, but He's someone that I definitely paid attention to, starting with the Giants game. You know what I'm saying? And then you see him make plays throughout the season, and then you see him in other positions where he's in positions where he wouldn't necessarily normally be in. But at the same time, who else is out there? But then he shows you his value because he shows you he's a second team Pro Bowl alternate. So for those fans that might not understand personnel and why is these guys playing, can't we get anyone better? If there was someone better to get, they would get him, but they brought him in to relieve Zach Cunningham and David Long Jr., but they didn't think that they would have both of those guys on IR at the same time. So
and
now
Monty Rice was on PUP for months, so he wasn't available either.
Now they're taking somebody that I'm taking Dylan Cole, who obviously is a special team terror, and now you have to play 40 to 50 snaps a game. Oh, yeah, and you have to go play special teams too. Yeah. That's all right. I'll do the best I can, and you're getting you're seeing what you get.
This team is going to get an extended look at Malik Willis because of another ankle injury to Ryan Tannehill. Not sure what the offensive line is going to look like because there's a lot of holes there and a lot of guys who are injured. We discussed this with Rhett Bryan a little bit earlier. We may have seen the last of Ryan Tannehill and Ben Jones. Tannehill's 34. Ben Jones is 33. Ryan has been here 4 years. Ben has been here for 7. Both of those guys would save, especially Tannehill, you'd save significant money against the cap. You were here when Vince Young got here. You'd been here with Steve McNair, and then you were here when it went through the transition. I look back, Doug Johnson, I'd forgot about him. He started at quarterback a little bit.
Don't forget the gunslinger, Kerry Collins, baby.
You went through all of that. And for Vince Young, people go, well, he won more games than he lost. Not in the beginning. He had a nice losing streak and then started to figure some things out. As a player, what was it like to go out for you? Because the Titans will do this tomorrow with a rookie quarterback. I know you're on the other side of the ball, but what's in your head thinking like, do I have to do more today? Can we not let him score more than 9? Like, what are you thinking?
You just gotta be confident. You have to have your unit to go. First and foremost. As a leader or a captain on the defense, I got to make sure that first practice, once we get our game plan, that we're going out there to stop who we need to stop. Dominate our opposition and put us in the best position to help our offense. If we can give them the ball closer to the end zone in positions to score, if we can, obviously, give them, if we win the field position battle and a turnover battle, to simplify it, that would be great for us. We did our job and keep it close. You know what I mean? Obviously, you don't want to go out there defensively and give up big plays, and then now you're putting your rookie quarterback in a position where you're down 10-0, and now your offensive coordinator and your offensive coaches are trying to pull a rabbit out of a hat. You know what I mean? So for me, and then throughout the week, just encourage them. You watch them practice. You know what I'm saying? If you see something, or something that you can tell them. And at the end of the day, Malik is a playmaker. So when you talk about Vince Young, when in doubt, make a play. You know what I'm saying? When in doubt, make a play. And obviously, I feel like Norm Chow did a great job. Obviously, that's who Vince's rookie coach was, of, tailoring the offense more towards Vince. And then you come in, you have Heimerdinger, and then, VY obviously got better and better. But it also goes on the game plans that you put in front of these players as well. So I think a lot of that goes into it. But as a player, to answer your initial question, just be encouraging. Be encouraging. Let them know you have your back. You know what I mean? And even tell them, like, look, bro, don't turn the ball over. We're going to win this game. Let them know the important things, because at the end of the day, it's a business. He knows, but it's all right to remind your teammate, you know what I mean? Especially if you're coming from a veteran and you're being positive.
There is the element, Keith, of, well, we do what we do. Well, we just run our system. Hey, man, it's going to be like 11 degrees tomorrow, or 18 or 20 or whatever it's going to be, and it's a rookie quarterback, and you really need to win a game, and there's a lot going on. You mentioned Norm Chow saying, I'm going to let Vince do what he does.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you maybe press that button a little bit tomorrow, like, hey, dog, let's sit down and look at the game plan. Tell me like 7 or 8 things that you really like.
Yeah, I mean, I would have had to start in the beginning of the week. Obviously you heard Todd Downing talk about, he's like the conversations that he and Malik have been having the last 4 to 6 weeks. They went from base to a little more, in-depth conversations, a little more understanding from his rookie quarterback. So that's good. But at the same time, yeah, it's one of those things. If you know that you're going out there with him these next 3 games, what do you do best? What are you most comfortable with? And you sit down, you watch some film, and then as the coach, you go to work with that. You put together game plans that help him in third and long, third and short, get him out on the perimeter with his legs, with his feet. Obviously, you got Derrick Henry. You're going to run your game plan with Derrick Henry, but you need some things that allow Malik to be that complement what you're doing with Derrick Henry that's going to allow Malik to be successful and get the ball to Chig or Austin Hooper and, Burks if he plays, Robert Woods, who's reliable when he's involved in the game plan. So, and obviously you got to think about the line, but that's why you got to move the pocket a little bit and some of those things of that nature.
Coach Keith Bulluck laying it down here. All right, when we come back, Buck Reising is going to join us for his regular Friday visit. Buck and Bulluck. I don't know if this ever happened. It never happened on this show before, but it happens next on Blaine and Mickey with Keith Bulluck. Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. Happy holidays. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Thanks to Keith Bulluck for just putting in a week here with us. Man.
Yeah, let's go. Appreciate
Let's
it.
go.
Appreciate the work.
Let's do this. Bulluck and Buck. I don't know if we've ever had these two combined, but it was time to make that happen. Here's our special holiday gift to everybody. We combine Keith Bulluck and Buck Reising with each other for this segment. Buck is always brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, home of the non-commissioned salespeople. Buck, welcome in and say hello and happy holidays to our friend Keith Bulluck.
I think one of those things is definitely better than the other in this particular transaction. But I'm happy to be on the phone with you guys, and I'm happy to be talking about a game that we are all going to get to experience in some form or fashion on Christmas Eve.
Buck, I want you to put your coaching hat on for a minute. OC, offensive coordinator, hat on. What type of game plan would you have put together to have the most success, to allow your rookie quarterback to have the most success from what you've seen of him in his performances this year?
So I think that it should look exactly like it did in Houston the first time and in Kansas City the second time, where they're just going to run Derek and they're going to try and figure out ways to get Derek out in space. They have the opportunity to hit some shots. Willis definitely has the arm for it. It would be better if he's throwing those shot plays to Traylon Burks, which it sounds like might be available, as opposed to Chris Conley in a big spot, the way that you don't want to be doing with the dude you just signed off your practice squad. They're going to have to find ways to get him in rhythm, Keith, and kind of play to his strengths. Right now, the strengths are athletic gifts as opposed to mechanics or the ability to read a defense. But it looked like he was doing a little more of that in the two drives against the Chargers. He went through progressions, which is something that we haven't seen him do. So I think you can run, your offense. You just have to be cognizant of what we know his limitations to be right now and hope that he can gain some valuable reps in real time.
Yeah, I mean, I hear all that. But so that's why it kind of baffles me. If he doesn't do read progressions well, why put him in a situation where he needs to read a multi-progression read passing situations? You know what I'm saying? So I think, that's kind of why, once that game plan is shut down, if they put 9 in a box and really, not that Houston's ever shut down Derrick Henry, but,
No, but teams have, right? Teams for sure have this year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like the Chargers, you know what? I wouldn't say that the Chargers shut them down. I feel like sometimes teams definitely have. I feel sometimes that the team that shuts down Derrick Henry is his own team, most especially last week against San Diego.
Yeah, I agree with that. And certainly the usage, kind of going back to the coaching thing, right? The two third and twos that everybody's been out of shape about, that, it just makes the most sense to run Derek forward for 2 yards and try and convert there, as opposed to, one, not having him on the field in one situation, or throwing in both situations when you have that guy and you're already having problems playing to your strengths. But yeah, to your point about Malik, so I guess would they run more tempo? Because he's looked pretty comfortable in the 2 minute, honestly, when he can just kind of read and react to seeing things on the field. You could speak to this better than I can, but it's not like defenses have a bunch of checks when offenses are running the no huddle. Like, you have a few hand signals and calls, I'm sure, but for the most part, you're already out there in your personnel. Is that the kind of thing that you're alluding to?
Yeah, tempo, you got to do the things that he does well. Yeah, tempo is definitely one of those things. Tempo usually works for, quarterbacks that don't even have a lot of time within an offense, because most tempo, most 2 minute, most those type of forms of offense are kind of pretty much the same. We saw a couple weeks ago, how Baker Mayfield was able to do that for the Rams. He, wasn't looking like anything throughout the game, but then they went tempo, they went hurry up, they went no huddle. He's able to manage that a little bit more. But yeah, look, that all comes down to coaching and what type of game plan they put together. I was just kind of curious to get your take, because you're more privy to it, to me being able to having the access that you have.
No, I hear you. And certainly I think we're going to see a lot of similarities in terms of what the first couple of game plans look like, right? Because you have the advantage here of playing Houston again. Now, Houston also has the advantage of having played Malik, right? That's the only team that's seen Malik Willis twice at this point, or will have seen Malik Willis twice. So if you're going to have kind of a crash course in how much more of your offense you can run, might as well come against the NFL's worst rushing defense, who has been playing better defense as of late, but they've been better at capitalizing off points off turnovers in particular. They're still just getting gashed on the ground, and fortunately for the Titans, they still have Derrick Henry. They don't have anything else, but they have Derrick.
Buck Reising hanging out with Keith Bulluck and me here. Yeah, and Derrick has almost 900 yards in his last 4 games against the Texans and 9 touchdowns. He's gone for 200 4 straight times. But tomorrow he's going to have to do it behind an O-line who, Buck, are wearing "Hello, my name is" stickers so they know who each other are. I mean, it's going to take a Herculean, or however you want to say that word, Herculean effort for him to match those numbers, even with a lot of carries, because they're literally building an offensive line this week to try to put out on the field.
It's stupid. It's just so stupid at this point how this is still a thing. But yeah, and honestly, we're still waiting on transactions today. I assume we'll have them by the time you guys are.
No, it'll be when we get in the parking lot. But thanks for playing.
Hey, Slay's gonna bring it home. Slay's gonna bring it home.
Slay will just nail people with all this information.
For him.
Well, he'll definitely handle it from there. But I do expect them to probably shut down another offensive lineman today. Honestly, with Ben Jones going on IR. They're in tatters right now. They're signing dudes to the active roster that, like you said, Mickey, have just been chilling out there, or in the case of Daniel Munyer, who I know what that looks like. I know most Titans fans know what that looks like. It's not a pleasant experience for the most part, but Ben Jones is done for the year at this point. So, you'd like a little better or a little more stable situation for the rookie quarterback to be able to get valuable reps and be able to capitalize on those things, but that's not the situation. He's going to be running for his life back there, it's the Boris Johnson drop, Lucas. It's them's the breaks. This is the circumstance. That's right.
Well, them's the breaks.
Thank you, Boris.
Well, I think what Bully and me are looking at is at least give him a head start so he can run one way or the other. Preferably get away from the left tackle on most plays.
Yeah, so that's because that's what I'm saying. That left tackle is like the free lunch program. Sometimes somebody get in the line twice. You know what I'm saying? So at least roll him out to the right, away from where that air is coming through, just the wide open door.
The hawk is out there,
Buck. I get, Keith. I get this guy has a hard job. Okay, I get it. It doesn't look like a lot of fun right now. All right, for anybody. But the idea that this dude is this consistently bad at what it is that he does for a living is mind blowing to me. And then like I said, it's just stupid at this point because they finally decided to do something about the left tackle situation in LA, and this dude tears his. It sucks for Dylan Radins, but he tears his ACL after 3 series. What the hell are you going to do? It's just they cannot win for losing.
Yeah, they definitely do. The last couple of years have that injury bug, and it's pretty baffling, really, really. But it's real. It's a real thing. It's a real thing.
Buck Reising hanging out with Keith Bulluck and me here on Blaine and Mickey. Let me ask you this, Buck. So. You brought up Ben Jones going to IR. Paul Kaharski has reported, I don't remember the exact word, but I'll paraphrase, essentially that we've probably seen the last of Ryan Tannehill for this season. Unlikely he would play. Maybe that's the way PK had phrased it. If you've got to get, $1,000 of Keith Bulluck's money and go to Vegas and bet, would you bet that we would see one or neither or either or both of these guys ever again in a Titans uniform?
Oh, man. Ben probably not. I haven't talked to him or anything like that. They can't in good conscience keep putting him out there. He is such a tough and insanely committed to the cause type of dude that at a certain point, and I don't know that they did this, but like it almost feels like you got to shut him down to keep his situation from getting progressively worse, because the concussion thing it's flatly scary. And for all the different things that he's played through and the fact that he continues to try and find ways to be available, Ben, I think is less likely, just for the sake. Like I said, I can't speak for the guy, but I imagine he's going to have a legitimate conversation with himself and whomever is around him that impacts these kind of decisions, and be like, hey, do we really want to keep doing this at going into year or age 34? Tannehill depends on Malik, right? Like, if Malik looks like hell out there, and the next general manager coming in is going to say, well, this guy can't play. He can't be the quarterback in 2023. We've got this dude under contract. Can we kind of figure it out until we can make it work? Because Tannehill's not the problem. You're just getting him killed. And he's running for his life back there. And now he's on 2 bum ankles. So I think the Tannehill thing is very much more contingent upon Malik Willis, but it's not outside the realm of possibility that he's not on the roster next year. And, there's very likely scenarios that would see him either cut or traded if they can find a reasonable deal for him.
Yeah, to kind of, add in, piggyback off that, with Ben Jones, you think he plays center. So those collisions that are causing him to become concussed, you got to think they're not from 5 yards away. They're like very tight quarters, tight proximities.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, Buck, for someone who's always out there, like the tread on his tires are pretty thin. I definitely think he could get out there and do it again if he needed to. But does he need to? And I just think I have a lot of respect from Ben Jones, since he's come over, and you see the work that he's put in. I hold him in regards with the Benji Olsens, the Brad Hopkins, the Michael Rooses, the David Stewarts, all the linemen that I've had the opportunity to be around, just to watch him from afar and to kind of, get to know him from afar as a person. He definitely fits the mold of what's been coming through here, obviously, since, the Bruce Matthews and Mike Munchak started that mold of Titans-Oilers linemen.
Yeah, no, Ben's a certified badass, and Ben deserves to go out, however he chooses to go out. So this is entirely incumbent upon him, and I'm certain that he hates for the season, at least in the immediate, and whatever comes after that. I know that this is not a way that he would choose to go about it, but it's one of many difficult decisions that this franchise is going to have to make about personnel in the offseason. And at minimum, you're probably talking about 3 new starters on the offensive line that this team is going to have to figure out: left tackle, left guard, and either center if something happens with Ben, or right guard if Nate Davis tests free agency and they pull a Jack Conklin and they let this guy walk.
Well, I tell you what, you wouldn't have seen this 5 weeks ago. Miss Amy definitely ripped the Band-Aid off, and all these things, it's oozing right now.
Yeah.
Definitely some ooze.
Yeah, I'm dying to know what John
Need
thinks.
some peroxide, baby.
Yeah, this is just this thing is in a state of decay right now, and it really just hit the ground so hard, because now you're talking about the quarterback, you're talking about the center, talking about some of the most important and impactful positions on the football team, and they're basically running out there with an entirely new offense tomorrow.
Buck Reising, our guest. It's interesting because Mike got asked about it again, and he's been asked a lot of the same questions over and over about things that seem to continue to plague the team. But he was asked, you guys seem to always be the most injured team, and it was 91 last year, and I know you and Lucas were trying to figure out how many this year. It's at least 81, and I guess it'll be more than that before the end of the season. Hopefully, to goodness, they can't find 10 more people that they have to bring up or find off the street to play in these remaining games. But Mike said some things they had done, Buck, and, we really looked at what we did in training camp, and we really – obviously, this is either the most unlucky team in history or what they did and what they changed didn't even work. But they still need some answers. This is 2 years in a row of historic injuries for a football team. And I'm tired of people saying, well, it's just because they're more physical. It's the NFL, man. Everybody's physical. That always makes me laugh. Well, they're just the most physical. That's why. Everybody's physical.
That ain't it.
Give me a break.
Yeah, or it's sure as hell not it lately. Have you seen this team? Good God. I would say to you, there's a lot of questions that I think I would like to ask A.J. Brown. But one question that I would like to ask A.J. Brown is, do you feel, because his health has not been a situation in Philadelphia, and his health was certainly something that people cited as a mark against him here, I would like to know from AJ if he feels like he's getting better medical evaluation, better recovery, better, just different things in a different spot than he's previously been at, or any player that's moved on from this organization in the last couple of years. Because I don't want to recklessly speculate, and we don't have access to the training staff or to the insides of the facility to understand how this stuff really works for them. But there is something here that is causing this situation to not get better. It literally can't get worse than it did last year. They were record-setting in how hurt they were last year, but it's definitely not getting better this year. And there has to be something that they can find within their process, whether it's the amount of resources that they have devoted to this stuff. I don't know. It could be any number of things. But this is not a sustainable way to run a franchise. Like it's crazy what they're doing. And not that Mike needs any more of an ego boost, but it's really a testament to the coaching staff that they're winning games still at this point the last 2 seasons. And I know they haven't lately, but my God, at some point the dam was going to break.
Well, I will just say this. In 2022, Roger Saffold has played in every game for the Buffalo Bills at about a 95% of the snaps of the season, and that's according to Pro Football Reference.
Oh, my favorite website.
So
that's a good website.
I didn't think about that.
Roger,
I'm sorry, Buck. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. You first. I've been talking way too much.
Because I was gonna say, I believe I spoke about this with Lucas yesterday when it came to like the training staff and health and nutrition and stuff like that. And I'm not one to put it on a training staff. I feel like it's up to players strength and conditioning staff. It's up to players to get themselves ready to play. But there might be more to that when you think about, as you mentioned, A.J. Brown being healthy. And that was one of the things things I questioned. Do you pay him? Is he going to be healthy? And then, you get rid of Roger Saffold and he's playing 95% of the snaps all year for the Buffalo Bills. It's very interesting.
No, I talked to Roger about this. He got an e-scope, and he's been straight. Now, his neck was an issue here. But again, it was a lingering issue. So, Keith, I think Roger would be a great candidate. AJ, Roger, there's a number of players in different spots who I would be curious to know, hey, what is the most significant difference for you other than luck, like in the way that your injury situations are being handled now? Because it's clearly gotten better for 2 players who were moved on from, not exclusively in the case of AJ because of, an uncertain injury history, but certainly health was a critical evaluating point for both of those players who, by the way, they haven't been able to effectively replace.
All right, Buck, we got a little bit less than a minute left. This has been some, talk about who's not going to play and what's not going to happen and who's injured, but they do have a chance to really get some good news back among some injured guys, Danico and Burks and Cunningham and Avery, who turned into Mr. Pass Breakup himself. Possibly a lot of good news injury-wise for guys we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, Danico Autry is, I would say last year it was A.J. Brown, but Danico this year I think has been the most difficult player for them to replace. They've been able to find ways literally almost at every other position. Literally at every other position to get competent play out of some of these dudes and make it work, except for Danico Autry. They haven't won a game since he's been out. So, if he's even a fraction of himself, it gives them an advantage. It gives them better depth. It just gives them a better chance to do the thing, to get back to the thing that they did better than just about any team in the sport, which is get pressure with 4, have the numbers advantage in coverage, create turnovers off of the pressure that you're able to get with those 4, and try and make the field position battle a little easier on your offense, because you're not necessarily getting it in getting plus field position out of your special teams unit right now, because you can't keep a returner healthy on top of all this other crap. I almost said a bad word.
That's okay. I would have hit the dump button. I would have hit the holiday dump button for you. Buck, fantastic stuff. We wish you happy holidays, Merry Christmas. You and Blaine Bishop and me will be on tomorrow on Christmas Eve, preparing people for Titans and Texans in the coldest game in the history of Nissan Stadium is being predicted. So a fantastic holiday event that we will be involved in tomorrow. I can't wait.
Howdy ho ho.
Y'all stay warm, man.
Keep the cats warm,
Merry
Buck.
Christmas,
I saw your
Buck.
video this morning. Merry Christmas, my friend.
Merry Christmas, you guys. Keith, always a pleasure to talk to you.
Sir.
See you, buddy.
The one and only Uncle Buck Reising. Uncle Buck around the holidays, a perfect time. When we come back, it's time for us to call our shot. You got a shot? We've got time to get you in. 615-737-1045 in the Zone TV chat. Or you can even tweet us at Blaine and Mickey. Call your shot next. The mastermind of all the reindeers. Boy, it's Chuck Berry right here. This is a classic. This one cracked in with like Perry Como and Andy Williams. And this is just Chuck Berry singing about a reindeer with a rock and roll guitar. How about that? This one gets played right next to all the standards. You a big Christmas music guy, Bully?
I am.
Oh, what's your poison? What do you like? They were talking about this morning.
I'm like a Motown Christmas guy. That's kind of how, obviously, all of the classics. I know all of the classics, but tomorrow we'll just zone into the Motown playlist and just let it rock. That's what I remember from my early childhood, and then obviously as Christmas developed and I lived in different places, Christmas has many faces.
Man, the Motown Christmas stuff is so good. So you don't know this. We still getting to, we're still kind of we're getting to know each other. I was raised on Stax and Motown.
Okay.
100%. I'm a bass player. I became a bass player for all the rhythm, for all that stuff, and I try to play like James Jamerson. I want to play, and Duck Dunn. I want to play like the guys who played on all those records that you like. But man, does that stuff sound so good.
Yeah.
And it was cutting those little houses in Detroit, Hitsville, USA, and people picture a big studio. No, Motown is like a couple of houses on a row in Detroit that the magic came out of.
And it's like all of those movies that they make about, like you say, like Hitsville, and even like the latest Elvis movie that just came out, like all these different movies of old school music that is still great, and that they show you like what these musicians and these artists went through, and like you say, the conditions they worked in and how the business was back then. I'm sure it's just as bad now, but you know what I'm saying. But it's just
a different kind of bad.
Yeah, it's all interesting. It's great.
All right. Well, Lucas, what about you? Lucas is one of these new world guys. He likes a little old stuff, a little new stuff. What are you going to throw on the playlist
when it comes to Christmas music?
Yeah.
I can't go wrong with Santa Claus Coming to Town by Elvis. It's my favorite Christmas song of all time.
Okay.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
It's not, because for me, Christmas music isn't about the song and the lyrics. It's about who makes it good. Like, that song is good because Elvis makes it good.
That's cool. So now when you come to favorite Christmas song, like for me, it just goes back to like times of life, you know what I mean? And like I just go back to so my older brother is like 14 years older than me. So like if I'm 8, he's coming home, from college or whatever, and what's in my mind is like Run DMC,
Christmas in Hollis. Oh my gosh, that's
just
a
like
banger,
as a kid.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? As a kid, it's just. I know it's not the classic Christmas song, but like for me, it's just kind of like I don't play it like on Christmas or anything, but when I hear it, it takes me back to like my childhood and that it's good times. A lot of songs do, but that's a good one.
The craziest thing is, and Lucas, you mentioned Elvis. My grandmother, who's no longer with us, who I miss her every day. She had the big old wooden stereo that was like the size of a couch, that everybody had. That was a piece of furniture. And she had the Elvis Christmas record that we used to play on repeat. And when I got old enough that she would let me touch the stereo, then I became the DJ at the family gatherings. And that was always one of those things. And, Bully, you make a great point, because I can put that song on and close my eyes, and I'm sitting in my grandmother's living room.
Right.
And she's right there, my grandfather, my sister who's passed, and my dad, and everybody's all around again, man. That's the secret sauce with the music.
Yeah, music is so nostalgic, especially Christmas, holiday music.
Oh,
Love
man.
it.
Well, we got to listen up, kids, because you're running out of time to listen to it. It's the 23rd of December.
Yeah.
We are running out of time on this show as well. It's time for us to call our shot. Now, usually as a courtesy, we let the youngest go first, Bully. We let Lucas Panzika go first. And I told Keith, well, let me hear your shot, Lucas, and let me see if you hit exactly what I told Keith you were going to do.
Okay, I'm going with Derrick Henry. I don't know if that's what you have. What did you have?
I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. Like Blaine and me always say, the Titans are going to win. And Lucas will be like, the Celtics backup point guard has an over-under of 2.5 assists.
Yeah, first half under of the Gasparilla
He always
Bowl.
kills the Pacers.
Yeah, no.
Yes.
You've talked about the Henry stat. Keith and I talked about it a little bit yesterday. So 4 games against Houston, the average in those 4 games for Henry is 30 carries, 223 yards, 2.3 touchdowns in his last 4 games against Houston. So Derrick Henry hasn't gotten in that 30-carry neighborhood since Green Bay. Coincidentally, that's the last time the Titans won a football game. I'm going to say
shocked.
Derrick Henry gets to the 30-carry mark. He gets to the 2-touchdown mark that he's always reached against Houston. I don't know that he gets to the 200-yard mark. With what he's dealing with in front of him on the offensive line, Traylon Burks back in the fold. Maybe the Titans will trust Malik Willis a little more to throw the football. But I do think the Titans win and that Henry gets his 30 carries, 2 touchdowns, and well over 100 yards. I don't know how possible it is to get to over 200 against the same opponent 5 games in a row.
I hope he does.
I like that. Yeah, I mean, look, Mickey, you hit me with the killer crossover because I wasn't expecting
100%.
that.
I was expecting some obscure NBA stat here.
That's what kind of I was going with. I was going to say King Henry was going to, lead the Titans to a victory. Lucas, I'm going to let you live. You put more detail and more time into yours. But I like the Titans defense playing hero ball a bit tomorrow, shutting down Houston's offense and putting Malik Willis, Derrick Henry, and those guys for the Titans offense in position for a big win. So I'm going to go with the Titans defense doesn't give up over 10 points and more than 225 yards.
Okay. I think that's about the yardage that they had last
let's repeat
week.
it then.
The Texans, I believe that's about right. Call your shot.
Well.
Brought to you by Chattanooga Whiskey 91, an award-winning small batch bourbon, and the only Tennessee high malt featuring tasting notes of toasted honey and graham cracker. It is a real winner and available at your local retail store. Maybe you will gift some or enjoy some responsibly yourself over this cold holiday weekend. The Titans are 3-point favorites. The number has dropped with the Ryan Tannehill news. I guess quarterback is always that one position that can really affect a line. It's a 3-point game as recently as I checked. I think the Titans win. I don't know if I'm going to say that they will win by more than 3. They seem to play close. And think about this, guys, last year. They lost to the Texans and then almost lost to the Texans again. They beat them by 3 the second time they played them. And this was a 12-5 team. So what's that? 20% of its losses were to the Texans, and they almost lost to them again. So these games seem to be close. I will just say this. If Derrick Henry doesn't get his 30 carries on a day like we are expecting tomorrow, knowing his past history against this team and how poorly they do stopping the run, that would almost seem like malpractice.
Yeah, I remember a game my rookie year. We went up to Cleveland. It was the last game of the year. It was a snow game, and look, the game plan was give it the ball to Eddie George, and they gave the ball to Eddie George. I think he had close to almost 200 yards. It doesn't matter how many yards he was. I know I got in at the end of the game, and I was mad because I wasn't expected to. It's a blizzard.
I remember that game. A lot of people think that's a signature game for Eddie, running through the snow against Cleveland.
I mean, it looked good, but it looked good from the sidelines, and then I got to go in for these last 6 plays. Come on, man. Let me stay out here.
All right. I'll hit you guys with some numbers on the way out because I think Lucas is about to start playing our goodbye music. According to ESPN's Football Power Index, the Titans have a 59% chance to make the playoffs. It rises to 64% with a win. It falls to 48% with a loss. Bottom line is this. No matter what happens, if the Titans lose out and the Jags win out, whoever wins the last game is into the playoffs. But it'd be nice to see Malik Willis and the Titans get things rolling again tomorrow.
Let's go.
All right, injuries and who's in and who's out. The rest of that will drop in just moments, I'm sure. And 3HL will have you covered with that. Keith, thank you. Great stuff, man. Merry Christmas.
It's been a great week. Appreciate y'all having me. Merry Christmas.
Yes, sir. Happy holidays to all of you. And again, 3HL has you covered next.